Hi, happy 2026. That feels surreal to say. Today is January 2nd and it is finally time for my New Year's reset. Usually I try to do these at the end of the year, but this year I first of all wasn't home, but also I do kind of feel like there's something quite nice about doing this at the start of the year because you do set like some good intentions. Honestly, it doesn't matter when you do this. So this morning I already did some reflecting on the past year, and journaling is going to be a thing for me this year. Like, I really want to be more consistent with it. So I felt like starting with a little bit of reflecting was going to be a good start to the day, because I feel like we get so caught up in like setting new goals and reaching goals. Like, there's so much pressure on achieving things around New Year's, but I feel like reflecting is just as important, because a lot of the time you definitely forget like good things that happened this year because you focus mainly on things that you didn't achieve. So I feel like looking at it in a way that you're looking at the good things that happened this year and reflecting on those is a much more positive thing to do than only focusing on things that you didn't achieve. So I started with a little bit of reflections, but I also really want to get started on my intentions and goals for this year, because I do feel like there's something so nice about setting goals for the year. I don't know, it's just really motivating for me. And it was actually snowing this morning, which it usually doesn't snow here, but that also does mean it's also just a really gloomy day. It keeps raining, which does not make me very excited to go out, but I really wanted to go to a cafe to start my goal setting. Now that it's raining, I just want to stay inside in bed and read my book. I've talked about this a lot, but reading instead of scrolling on my phone is going to be probably one of my biggest goals for this year, because my screen time is actually insane and the doom scrolling actually makes me really upset because I hate doing it. So reading and cozy hobbies is going to be a big thing for me. Basically, the plan for this weekend, I wanted to have a very gentle reset. Like, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on it, but basically I want to do some goal setting. I want to declutter literally everything. Like, I want to do also like a digital declutter. I used to be so good at this and I would constantly keep up with decluttering like my laptop, like desktop downloads and my camera roll, but the past few months my digital decluttering was out of the window. I literally didn't do anything, so my downloads and my camera roll are absolutely crazy right now, so that's definitely something I want to do. I also just quickly want to go through my closet and like other drawers and everything around the house. I feel like we've pretty much already did this a few weeks ago, and we also obviously kept up with it when we were moving. We already got rid of a lot of things when we moved. So for the physical declutter, I don't think we actually have to get rid of a lot of things, but I do quickly want to give everything just a quick clean and declutter. And lastly, as I mentioned, I want to focus on setting some intentions for this year, like goals, habits, and kind of just have a very gentle and cozy reset so we can actually start working on these habits from Monday. I don't really like saying that because you definitely don't need to start like new habits or everything on a Monday, but for me, I love starting fresh on a new year on a Monday. So this is your reminder, you definitely don't need to start everything on a Monday, but I love it. So this weekend's just all about getting ready for the new year and I'm very excited. So now I'm gonna take probably these two and go to the cafe and get a coffee because I don't have any milk in the house and I really want a coffee. And I feel like there's nothing better than setting your goals in like a cozy cafe. Like, that is just the best mood setter for anything. So yeah, I really hope you're gonna enjoy this video and Happy New Year! today is the first Sunday reset of the year and I'm actually so excited. For me, a new year just always starts on a Monday. So for me, January 5th this year is basically January 1st because you can't just start a new year on a random day in the week. It has to be a Monday. So it feels very refreshing to have this little weekend to do a reset. I want to start this very cozy, so I'm gonna read a little bit because I actually read a lot the past few days. I'm on like page 385 and I actually got into this book so quickly, and it's probably because I started it right away after I finished the other one, so I was properly into the story and I actually find it so interesting now. So I definitely want to read some more today, and I want to make a coffee, the first coffee in the new year, and basically just do the basic Sunday reset tasks like cleaning, decluttering a little bit because it's obviously the new year. Like I want to declutter my closet a little bit. Meal prepping, which is actually something new that we're gonna do because we want to prep some food for the upcoming week. Because yesterday we went to a cafe together and talked about our goals for the year, and I'm gonna get more into this later because I need to finalize a few things in my journal, like goal setting wise and intention wise. So I'm gonna come back to that later today, but I need to finalize a few things for that so we can actually start the new year tomorrow. As I mentioned before, you definitely don't need to do like a whole rebrand in the new year. I personally feel very motivated by that. So personally for me, that does work motivation wise, but that's definitely not a necessity. So please don't feel pressured to have to do like a whole rebrand or reset for the new year. I just personally like to do it. And I also went to this new Pilates studio yesterday and I actually quite liked it. The studio was very pretty, and for the class itself, I personally always feel like Pilates classes go so quickly, like you don't really realize the time because you basically blink and 50 minutes has passed and you're like at the end of the class, which honestly is a very good thing because for me the classes always go very quick. It felt a little bit intense because I basically haven't done a workout in like over a week and a half or something, so it did feel a little bit intense, but it also didn't feel that heavy. I don't know if the class just wasn't that hard, so for some reason it didn't feel super challenging, but the instructor did give like corrections if you weren't doing it right, and that was just really nice, which I have been to studios where they don't really do that, so I feel like it was a very good studio. It's called The Confidence Concept and I liked it. So yeah, we're gonna start with our little Sunday reset. On days like this, I genuinely wonder why I don't do Sunday resets more often. Like, I love a good reset. Like, honestly, this day has been so nice. I have been cleaning mostly our bedroom, and then Job is working on the living room and a little bit of the kitchen. But honestly, clean bedrooms are such a sacred place. I love when your bedroom's like so clean, and then tonight when we go to bed in like fresh sheets, I'm so excited. Today has just been such a cozy day, and it keeps snowing outside, so that makes it even cozier. And I don't know, I always tend to skip an actual Sunday reset because I always feel like it's so much work and it takes up so much time, but honestly it hasn't even taken up that much time today, and I love it when our house is like clean, especially now with the new year and like the end of the holiday season. It's just, I love it so much. And now I just quickly wanted to kind of mention my goals for the year, which I feel like is a little bit different this year. Okay, let's start with reflecting on 2025 because I feel like this year has been kind of a transformative year, but also kind of a weird year. I, for some reason, feel like it wasn't that good of a year because I had a lot of times where I was kind of struggling with how I was feeling or what I wanted to do with work and just everything. I feel like it wasn't a very good year, but then when I think about everything that I did this year, it was a very good year. So I don't know, I feel like 2025 for me was a little bit weird. Basically what I did last year is the same that I did this year, but I wrote down a few different parts of my life saying relationships, work, personal and health, and within those parts I kind of did a little brain dump with things that I wanted to work on. So when I'm reflecting on my 2025 goals, it's funny because half of these I technically didn't reach but also technically did. The first one was run a half marathon, which I did it even twice, which is actually crazy to me because a few years ago I couldn't even run a 5k. Right now I can even run a 5k. Yeah, I ended up running 2 half marathons, so I'm very proud of that. And the second goal was go on another solo trip. This I technically did because I went to London by myself, and technically I also went to Munich by myself. But that was not the specific solo trip that I think I meant when I wrote down this goal, because I did go to London by myself, but I did see a few friends there. Like somewhere during the day I would see other people. It wasn't like a trip where I'd be completely by myself. And then for London it's a bit conflicting because on the one side I was by myself most of the time, but not like entirely. And a trip like that wasn't a very specific solo trip that I meant when I wrote down this goal. So I feel like I didn't reach this specific goal, but I did go on a solo trip, so yeah. The next one I wrote down is read 10 books, and I did not reach this, but I did end up hitting 8 because during the end of the year I did read a few more books, so that was actually nice because I almost hit my goal. Making plans for moving. Not only did we do this, we actually moved. I would say if you'd asked me this last year, like even like April last year or something, I would have instantly told you that we were not moving this year because we literally had no plans whatsoever to move. We basically just set the goal to see if we wanted to look at like options or if we wanted to look at places that we might want to move. We specifically clarified that we were like looking at maybe one day moving, but in the end everything went obviously super quickly and we literally moved within like 4 months of starting to look for an apartment. So looking back at this year, it just all feels really weird because we literally bought an apartment in Amsterdam, which honestly was always my dream, and I still cannot believe that we even did it, and especially how fast we managed to do it. Like that is so insanely crazy to me, and I don't know, that's just such a big accomplishment. And I feel like the rest of the year is kind of a blur to me because everything was basically about moving. Like also down here I wrote like intentions and habits, but honestly, did I do any of this? I feel like I didn't really work on like habits last year because everything was just so chaotic. Anyways, the last 3 goals that I set are 3 goals that are related to my business, and I've decided that I kind of want to keep most of these private because I feel like these are just very personal to me, and I do want to keep some things private so I can just work on them in silence. I don't know, I just feel like I'd be so much more pressured to hit these goals or like to explain myself or work on them if I'd share them. So I do want to keep some of these private, but one of them I do want to share because that was actually that I wanted to buy this very specific camera that I'm filming with right now with my YouTube money. Well, social media money, but I didn't make any other money than YouTube. But very technically I did hit this, so I'm just gonna say that I hit it because I'm very proud of it and very happy with it. But also technically I didn't hit it because basically if you're self-employed you obviously have to pay taxes. So I take a small part from everything that I earn and I put it aside into a separate savings for my taxes obviously. So the other part of that money, like without the taxes part, I put it in a different savings account for the camera. I forgot to explain this actually because at first I wanted to buy it with that money, but then I really wanted to invest in my YouTube because I was noticing the quality of my videos going worse because I didn't have a proper nice camera to film with. So I decided to invest in the camera, and then I wanted to pay myself back with the money that I was earning, and then somehow I could still reach the goal. Okay, in my little camcorder savings account I'm missing 50 euros for this camera, which I did put aside for taxes. So technically I did earn it, but it's not in the savings account because I put it aside for taxes because I don't want to get in trouble with taxes. So yeah, technically I did hit that, and I'm so happy with it because I love YouTube so much and I've been just putting so much time and effort into it, and I just can tell that you guys are enjoying it because I've been getting a lot of nice comments, and it just all makes me so happy. So for the upcoming year, I did the same thing with kind of doing a little brain dump in certain parts of my life. Again, relationships, health, work, and personal. And usually what I'd want to do after I do this brain dump is put these and take them into actual goals. For example, in the relationship one, I wrote choosing myself and also learn to be alone more, which kind of aligns perfectly with another goal like go on a solo trip. But I didn't set that goal for multiple reasons, because I already have a few trips planned this year and I didn't want to pressure myself by putting another trip on the list, because I know that financially and also time-wise it's just not realistic. So this year I am doing it a little bit different, because I technically don't have like very big specific goals, because obviously last year, even though I didn't set moving as an actual goal, we did move, which is something so huge that I don't have like very big things for this year. And I think especially because of that, this year I don't really want to focus on a lot of big goals. I mostly want to focus on routines, because I feel like last year my routines were just out of the window instantly. Like I have not had like proper morning or evening routines in months. I honestly can't remember when I was actually consistent with working out or eating healthy or drinking water, or honestly any routine for that matter. So even though that doesn't feel like an actual like measurable goal, there's one thing that I learned in school, and it's that your goals have to be like measurable. And I feel like routines, it's just not something you can measure very. Actually, you can do like a habit tracker or something, but I feel like this is not a very good goal. But routines is the one thing that I want to focus on this year, and it's kind of my priority, I feel like. But because I do love goal setting and everything that comes with it, I did want to set a few goals that I want to try and focus on. And Job and I actually talked about this the other day, because we also wanted to set some goals together, but together we also don't really have like huge things, because obviously we bought an apartment last year. We do want to plan like a semi big trip, because obviously we didn't go away last year. We really wanted to go to Indonesia last year, but obviously because we were moving we didn't go away. So this year we do want to go on a trip, so that's kind of our goal. And when we were talking about it, we kind of just want to do like a little monthly check-in. So each month we can talk about what's going well, what's not going well, and just kind of reflect on that, so we can continue those for the next month. And if one month I do want to add like a specific goal, I can. So I feel like every month we're just gonna look at it differently and not do like big goals for the entire year, because I feel like I'd be so overwhelmed by that right now. So I'm just gonna focus on my own little routines. And yeah, I am very excited for this year actually. So the 3 specific goals that I wrote down is read 15 books, because I wanted to do 10, but since I read 8 last year and I do actually feel like I'm gonna read more this year, I wanted to kind of challenge myself and do 15. Then I also really want to attempt to run a half marathon in under 2 hours, even though I can't even run like a 5k right now. I really want to try and do it this year. I'm very determined, because last year I think my time was like 2 hours 10 minutes without training. So I feel like with consistency and a proper training schedule, I'm very determined to be able to hit that. So I really hope I can do that. And the last one is start my business Instagram, because if you didn't know, I'm self-employed freelancer and I have been wanting to start my business Instagram for like 2 years, because that's when I started my business, but I never did it because I'm just too self-conscious and I just keep doubting everything and I just don't know. It's mostly also because I don't really want to know what direction I exactly want to go in with my business, but I feel like it's just important to start posting at least something, and then you can just change everything like along the way. So just starting the Instagram in general, that's my goal for this year. I'm also very curious if you guys have any big goals, because I feel like that's just so exciting to hear about. So if you want to chat with me about your goals, please leave it in the comments or send me an Instagram DM for that matter. I don't care. I love hearing about things that people are excited about. So let me know if you have any specific goals for this year. I feel like this is for me just a little bit more of a gentle way to approach the new year, because I know it can be a bit overwhelming and there can be a lot of pressure on hitting all those goals, and we're not doing that. We're just gonna focus on routines and habits and everything that we didn't do last year. So yeah, I'm gonna go chill for a little bit and then we can end our little reset day with meal prepping and a little bit of self-care.